Good evening, board members and Mr. Gonzalez and district staff. The time is 6:01 PM on this day, 7th day of June, 2022. I call this business committee meeting of United Independent School District of Trustees to order. Following board members are present: Ricardo Rick Rodriguez.
Juan Roberto Ramírez.
Ricardo Molina Sr.
Let the record show that this meeting has been duly called and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Acts meeting. Agenda number 1 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Y'all please rise.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas
Texas
flag.
flag,
Texas one state, under God.
one and under. I'd like to take a moment for Mr. Victor that passed away. Give him a few minutes of silence, please. Thank you.
Public comments?
Not at this time.
Agenda number 3A, voluntary group insurance benefits.
Good evening, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Ramirez, and Mr. Molina. For informational item, because these are benefits that the employees voluntarily choose to get, you'll see that one, disability insurance, 0% increase, vision insurance, 0% increase, emergency medical evacuation, air evac, 0% increase, fly you home air med, 0% increase, prepaid legal services, 0% increase, IRC cafeteria plan national benefit services, right now there's a 0% increase, and Dental Delta Insurance Company, 0% increase. So these are the different benefits that we offer to our employees. It's strictly voluntary if they want to buy any of these products to cover themselves or their dependents.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think it's important to note that, Benavides, I know we've had public comments in the past saying that the insurance had gone up.
Right. What happens with some of these insurances that people choose, like let's say the life insurance, when you get a certain age, like when you reach your 50s, the insurance goes up. Even though your coverage might stay the same when you reach 40, 50, 60, and also for the life insurance. When you reach a certain age, the premium goes up. But that's why we invite our employees to go to our open enrollment that starts in July. We want them to go meet with an agent and see if that's the right coverage for them. So
There's always disability for the Social Security, the plan, they have A and B. They have the B for a lot of the medical stuff. They can look at that
disability.
after 65,
Yes, yes.
or
So-
disabled, whatever.
Yeah, so the older you get, it does cost more if you want to keep the same amount of coverage. I found out the hard way when my husband turned 16. All of a sudden, it was like, what are we paying for? So, yes, so we want our employees to come and visit with the agents to see if that's the right coverage for them.
Thank you.
The next item for informational item is the federal and state programs grant update. The federal programs department is applying for our grants from TEA. They're called the 22-23 ESSA Consolidated Grant. They consist of Title I, Title I Part C, which is for migrant, Title I D2, which is for our negligent and delinquent students. Title II is for professional development and our class size reduction teachers. Title III is for bilingual, and Title IV is for special projects such as STEM and other educational programs. So we have to come and let you all know that we are applying for this grant with TEA. It's not a competitive grant. It's one that we just have to submit what we're going to be spending the funds on.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No questions.
Agenda item 4, A, approval of monthly disbursements.
The approval of monthly disbursements, the Business and Finance Division, I think, sent you all our monthly expenses for the month of May. And I don't know if anybody has any questions, I can follow up with Mr. Flores.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Item B, approval of budget amendments.
There are two budget amendments that we are proposing for the board's consideration and approval. On page 9, we can go up on, BA 2205, this is a district-wide amendment. At this time of the year, we start seeing where we need to cover for expenses that we saw from the year, and obviously with fuel going up, we want to add to the fuel budget. We had some savings in function 23 in payroll. There may have been vacancies in that function. And then function 36 is student travel and transportation. We probably had, thank God, our kids are very successful. They go to playoffs, et cetera, so we were probably covering some of those expenses. The next budget amendment, Mr. Flores indicated to me that we're doing a revenue accrual, meaning that the state allows us to accrue for the time that we're going to start school in August. So we're actually starting school about 8 days before last year. So we were able to recognize some additional revenue for those 8 days. And then he's requesting that we put the expenses in contracted services, in HVAC repairs, because this is the time of the year where we start replacing chillers and things of that nature to get our buildings ready for next year. And then capital projects that we see that we need to fix floors or plumbing. And so we feel this budget will get us through to the end of August to prepare for the new school year.
I have a question. Every year they cut days before you know it's gonna be year round. Every year 8 days, 4 days, 5 days. It's going down where, really the end of the summer is going to be a lot shorter as time goes on to make revenue.
Right. Well, I think what we're trying to do is give us some days off in the middle of the year when it's winter, just in case we have a surge of COVID. And then we already have some days in that calendar so that we don't have to, not have school. We already have it in the calendar. But we do have 175 days of school in the 2023 calendar. And you're right, Mr. Molina, we are starting a little earlier, but it's to have those days available in the middle of the school year.
Any more questions? No? Thank you. Item C, approval to designate Monica Mariel to calculate the 2022 tax rate.
It is recommended, or we're recommending that Monica Madrigal, our district tax assessor collector, be designated by the governing body, the Board of Trustees, to calculate the 2022 tax rate this coming summer.
This summer?
Yes. But we need her to be designated to calculate.
Okay.
That'll be for the main board meeting, right?
Yes. Item D, approval of adoption of the health self-insurance resolution.
We're bringing to the board, this is an item that we have to bring every year to allow the board to acknowledge that we are financially obligated to fund our employee group self-health insurance plan. The resolution is on the next page, and it's just telling our public that we will be covering our health insurance plan, the premiums and the medical expenses that will come up because we are self-insured. That's the resolution.
That's a resolution, okay. Any questions? Item E, approval of district group health insurance, HMO plan rates, district contributions.
We're bringing this to the board because board policy actually requires that we bring to the board when we are going to recommend any kind of change to our health insurance. At this point, because we've seen that we have to put more into the health insurance, we are going to recommend to the board to increase the district contribution, not the employee contribution, but the district contribution to $475 a person, a member, our employees, versus what we pay right now of $425. We have been having to come and cover, but we feel this $50 more a person per month will cover for the next year. And, we're hoping that, COVID doesn't hit our health insurance plan real hard, but at this point, this is what we feel we can cover. There is a minor change in our HMO plan. We're actually proposing to decrease the employee contribution from $61 to $41. So what that means is we're making that plan more affordable to our employees. Again, it's the employee's choice. It's an HMO, not a PPO. HMO means they can only go into the doctors that are in our network. But we checked with Blue Cross, and that in-network doctor list is very comparable to our PPO. So we feel that it covers enough doctors in Laredo, in San Antonio, and actually the state of Texas, that if an employee wants to go to this lower, like a lower cost insurance, that they will feel like they really won't feel a difference. It's just the same doctors that are covered. They only have to have a what they call a PCP. They have to say who their doctor is so that they can go to that doctor and the doctor can refer them to a specialist. They just can't go to a specialist. They first have to go through their doctor. So that's all the HMO is different than the PPO.
But the doctor has to go, their doctor has to refer them to somebody
right.
that's in the network,
Right.
right?
But we feel that if they establish a relationship with their doctor, at least the doctor knows their health issues and can say, no, you know what, it's time to go see a specialist. So that's the only difference between the PPO, which is more expensive than this one. It's $81 a month, and this one is $41 a month. So those are the only changes that we're proposing at this time for the health insurance.
What I've seen is when you have a more critical health, they'll refer you to a specialist, but from here, like to San Antonio, they won't see you here. So that's where that covers all that.
As long as the doctor's in network, and really Blue Cross has a lot of doctors that are in network in the whole state of Texas, yes.
Item F, annual renewal of the district workman's comp insurance program.
We're bringing to you the renewal proposal, and we're recommending that the board award the workers' compensation insurance contract to Texas Political Subdivision Joint Self-Health Insurance Fund. They offered a renewal premium of $2,427,383, which is an increase of $69,820 over current year. We feel that that is supportable considering medical inflation rates. When our employees become injured, they incur medical costs, so we feel that's a very reasonable increase in workers' comp insurance.
That'll go to the main board meeting, right?
Yes, this one will go
Yeah.
to
For
the
the
board
approval.
meeting next week.
Yes, ma'am. Item G, any more questions? No. Item G, discussion and possible action to rescind the award of JOC 005-2021 water bottle filling station at the current water fountains at UISD campuses.
Good evening, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Molina, and Mr. Ramirez. This JOC was awarded at the March 23rd board meeting, but we're going to resolicit for this proposal, so we're asking to rescind, and we'd like to do, there's an agenda item for us to go for a different procurement method. The reason.
Will it come to the business meeting or it's going to be in the board meeting?
It's here on the business.
Oh, in this
as well.
one, okay.
All of these items will be for the regular board meeting, probably on consent agenda unless someone pulls them for individual consideration.
Okay. Any more questions? No? Item G, approval of the CSP as the method of the procurement of the district-wide water bottle filling stations.
So as per our policy, anytime we're going to use any procurement, construction procurement method other than our default JOC, we need to get your permission. So we're requesting to do competitive sealed proposals for these district-wide bottle filling stations, which is the JOC we just rescinded in the previous agenda item.
So this would be also like item I, the approval of CSP as the method of the procurement of the HVAC replacement for the Centeno and Cuellar Nye elementary schools.
Correct. So this will be another project. This project will be done out of general funds, and this is for HVAC upgrades at the campuses mentioned, and so we'd like to do a CSP for this project as well.
Okay. Any more questions?
No question, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item J, approval of awarding bids, proposals, and qualifications.
Administration has the following solicitations for your consideration. RFP 2022-025, supply of air purification units to Timilon Corporation. RFP 2022-030, milk and juice. The recommended vendor to Oak Farms Hygiea, estimated annual amount $3.2 million. RFP 2022-022, HVAC testing, adjusting, and balancing services district-wide. The recommended vendors are PHI Service Agency and Testing and Commissioning Services LLC. RFP 2022-014, counseling and testing materials and teaching aids to the vendors listed on the summary. Sorry, just noticed that. RFP 2022-025, relocation of portable building to Orozco's Inc. And then we also have 14 renewals for your consideration.
Any questions?
No, I'm just
Thank you.
trying to look before I go. Any more questions?
No,
No, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Approval of United ISD appraisals calendar for 2022-2023 academic year.
Members of the board, Mr. Gonzalez, ladies and gentlemen, we come before you to present the appraisal calendar that is governed under policy DNA and DNB local. The DNA local is the teacher evaluation instrument from the state that we use in order to evaluate all professional staff in instructional settings. DNB is local, is the evaluation process for all administrators that are in instructional settings. And of course, the appraisal calendar, I'm going to ask that you go to the next slide, please. There we go. This is the appraisal calendar during the course of the upcoming school year for all administrators called TPES. And TPES stands for the Texas Principal Evaluation and Support System. This will give us an idea as to what needs to be done during the course of the academic school year in order for the district to comply with the appropriate policy relative to this calendar. Next slide, please. This is the teacher appraisal calendar, and one of the things that happens, and this is more complex in order to come up with this particular calendar, is the development of the academic calendar that starts with Gloria Randon, DEIC, and a lot of input that comes from different entities within the school district. And of course, we work with the details having to do with required state testing and other details having to do with paid vacation days and so forth. So once that is established, then of course, then we apply all the different or available weeks of appraisal based on orientation, new hires, self-assessment, informal observation, formal observations, post-conference, end of year, and of course, no formal observation or walkthroughs based on collected data. So this is something that is complex, but at the same time, got to give credit to all the parties that start with Ms. Rendon and her staff, David Canales, that contributed highly to this, Ms. Celia Taboada and CNI, including Ms. Emalesa. So these are all players that come together in order to come up with this particular calendar. Cross-referencing has been done in order to ensure that we're in line with the adopted calendar, and this is the best calendar that we can come up with in both areas of administration and instruction and teachers for this upcoming school year.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item L. First and final reading for the board policy BE local board meeting.
Yes, trustees, administration. This policy we brought to you all in the last meeting we had. We discussed it with you all. We discussed the purpose of this policy change and the revisions to this. I don't believe I've received any feedback since that meeting, so it's just presented to you again for your review. We'll be taking it for first and final reading at the regular board meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item M, approval of request of board members in the use of the trustees' discretionary funds and for various campus and departments.
Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Ramirez, Mr. Molina, enclosed in your packets are the requested items for this month. We do not have any additional items to present at this time. Any additional items from now until our board meeting will present at the board meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.